This episode of The Inspiration Show is so incredibly special because today's inspiration is someone who has been a personal hero of mine for years. From Hamilton on Broadway to Once Upon a One More Time to Sunset Boulevard and now touring with The Outsiders portraying the role of Ace. I am so beyond excited to have the incredible Justice Moore joining me. She truly does it all from singing, dancing, acting, and choreographing with a stage presence that makes you cheer from the moment she steps on stage. And I have to say, if you've ever thought of it, we really need a little justice for Tulsa in the world because she's been
Yeah.
stealing hearts and inspiring audiences everywhere. Thank you so much, Justice, for joining me. It is such
Oh
an
my
honor to get to look up to you and watch you shine, and I can't believe you're here.
Oh, wait, you ate that. That was so cute. Thank you so much. The words are so kind. My
Oh my,
goodness.
you're the best. So when did
Thank
you
you.
discover that you had a passion for singing and for theater?
Honestly, okay, let's just do long story long, right? So I grew up in competition dance, very heavily, competitive, traveled for dance. I did sing in church, and then, growing up, I did act a bit. Like I was on Barney when I was little. I did a
Big
few
queen.
commercials. But then dance sort of, really took my heart, and I flew with that. And theater was never really in my sight lines until the choreographer of Hamilton reached out to my dance teacher to see if I wanted to come to New York and audition for Hamilton. And they have a really special connection because they both grew up in New York together, so they've known each other for years. And so he would fly out to Dallas, Texas, do some master classes, and then fly back to, doing great things. And so we had a really great opportunity at my dance studio to train with so many choreographers outside of Dallas. And so he was one of them, Andy Blankenbuehler, the choreographer of Hamilton. So that's how we connected. And he reached out to Michelle Stafford, my dance teacher, and was like, "Does Justice want to come to New York and audition for Hamilton?" And I was like, "Yes, I will be there." So this was my senior year of high school. And I think my first audition was in December. My second one was maybe in February, and then the last one was in May. And I mean, I fell in love with the choreography through the audition and fell in love with that show through the audition. Like, to be honest, I hadn't heard anything about Hamilton. Like, I was just not connected to the musical theater world at all. And so, going out to New York and experiencing an audition like that and experiencing movement like that, which I feel like, was one of the first of its kind on Broadway. I just fell in love and I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. And I found out on my 19th birthday and my high school graduation day, that I was gonna be in the Chicago company of Hamilton. So I was gagged. I was set up to go to Pace University, but I definitely wanted to jump at the opportunity to play the bullet in Hamilton. And yeah, like I just remember being such a sponge to the world because, like I said, just never, I've never had a music rehearsal. I didn't read music. I wasn't, so trained in that realm. Um, and so I just like remember keeping my eyes so open, my ears so open to just absorb everything that was around me. And, at that time it was Karen Olivo, it was Mandy Gonzalez, it was Josh Henry. Those were sort of the leaders and the leads in the show, and those were like my teachers. Those were my musical theater teachers, right? Tommy Kail was my director, my program director. Andy was the choreographer. Alex Lackamore was our music director. So it's like I had my college experience was like in that rehearsal room and just sort of had to like keep up with everybody and I never tried to act like I knew anything because I didn't, So I just remember being quiet and observant and just so hungry and eager to learn everything about this new world. And so I think that's how I discovered my passion was being in the Hamilton rehearsal room and just seeing, our leaders and our creative team and our cast just sort of all collectively come together and make this magnificent piece of work. And I was like, whoa, this is really special. So not your normal sort of introduction to musical theater, but so grateful for how I was introduced.
And I mean, it's literally who lives, who dies, who tells your story, because your story
Mhm.
completely flipped and it unraveled right in front of you in a way you never thought it would.
Totally.
Like, that's incredible.
Totally. Yeah.
So, what really inspired you to become a performer and who have been some inspiration of yours throughout your career?
Sure. Yeah, so my mom has always wanted to be a dancer, and she's always told me that since I was little. So I think, starting out, there was a like, oh, my mom wants to do this, and I love to do this. So like I'm doing it for her, and also there's this innate love that I had for it. Like I have old like home videos of me dancing in diapers and like just always doing some sort of movement, right? So yeah, it definitely started out as this like innocent love, then turned into like, oh, like I want to make my mom proud. And then I think like because I was so highly competitive, it turned into like a sport. You know what I mean? I wanted to win, if I'm honest with you. Like I loved the accolades and I loved getting placed high and things like that. And then once I started to discover, my true artist, my true artistry, once I sort of, moved out of the house, there was no more dance competition. I didn't have my mom with me, and I'm just sort of out here, in New York. And that's when you really have to ask yourself, like, why do you do this? Um, and so I think that's when I really discovered like the why. And and that's when I had to sort of switch what fueled me to keep going artistically because there were no trophies and there wasn't, a dance teacher or a mother being like, let's go to dance class. And so then it became about just sort of healing myself through my work and hoping that somebody would see my work and have some healing for themselves too. I think now it's more about impact and more about connection, you know. So yeah, a lot of the things that I create, especially like self things that I create, whether they see, the public or not, is all to heal some part of me that has been neglected, that has been ignored. And if I share it, it's all to be vulnerable and and hope that somebody resonates with my words and they can sort of start their journey to heal as well. So it's again been a very interesting uh and maybe not so like it hasn't been the most um what am I trying to say? Like it wasn't all for the love of dance to start off. You know what I mean? Like there were things put in place that made me love it. And then it wasn't until those things were gone that I had to find my own footing and find, what really, really pushed me and inspired me to keep creating.
Yeah. What you said about healing really, really touched me because I felt that so much when I watched your piece on World of Dance. And I
Thank
kind of want to
you.
go into that with you a little bit and kind of ask what that experience was like for you and like performing such a remarkable solo, like especially because it was the sound of your voice. Like, how did
Mm.
that kind of shape you as a dancer and how did that kind of come to be?
Yeah, yeah. So I remember when I first got approached to create for World of Dance, I was so nervous and I almost turned it down because, when I thought about, who has been on that platform, I just like are the greats like Keone and Mari, Ving Nguyen, Selena and Isidro, like people that I really, really admire and think are just like way up there. So when I got approached, I was like, now what am I gonna do? Like actually. And so I remember like, going through songs and trying to see like what resonated at the time and it really was just like like there's no song that I want to dance to right now. This like doesn't make any sense. Like, why am I here? What am I doing? What am I gonna do? Am I gonna do a hip hop solo? Am I gonna do a contemporary solo? Am I gonna like I have no idea. And so I remember journaling about it. Like I was awake at like 6 a.m. Couldn't sleep, woke up, journaled about it, and that turned into sort of the structure of the piece. So I was like writing down my fears of like, I'm not worthy enough. I don't know what style I want to do. Um, do I have to put myself in a box stylistically? Um, and yeah, that journal entry became the beginnings of that piece. And I just ran with it. I was like, this is the only thing that feels genuine at this point in time. And I'm not about to go on that stage and do something that doesn't feel like me. And so, during the pandemic, I was playing a lot with Logic. And so I had a really good grasp on how to work within that system. And so that honestly was the most fun part was recording my voice and sort of mixing and editing it and, lowering levels and raising levels and making sure everything sounded good. Um, so yeah, that like I was so happy that I got to sort of exercise that muscle that I feel like I hadn't touched so much since the pandemic. But yeah, that platform was and is such a special opportunity to share your work without anybody telling you, um, how long it needs to be, what it needs to be about, how many people should be in it, what style it needs to be. Like, I don't think I've ever, besides like what, your high school talent show, I've never been in a space that like you can just go and share, like show us what you got. It's equally like liberating and terrifying. You know what I mean? And so how many? So I think I've created three solos for that platform, and each time I just feel like I've been able to share a different piece of me. I've been able to heal a different piece of me, and those solos like have connected me with so many dancers and so many people, and DMs that just like shared, their experience with social anxiety or, creative freedom and creative identity. So I've just been able to not feel so alone in, the things that I was feeling. And so I think that has given me more confidence to just be more vulnerable and be more real about the things that I'm feeling and the things that I want to share. Because you find out that you're really not alone. Like there's a lot of people that are going through the same thing as you. And so that gives you a sense of community and gives you a sense of belonging. And yeah, it's very, very comforting. Very, very comforting.
I think that was so special about watching it for the first time is like growing up as dancers. Like I'm sure you were told this. I mean, I was told this a million times that like dance is a universal language. And
Yeah.
seeing that in your solo, like it felt like it was a universal language within itself for me because it was my
Mhm.
first time that I was seeing my feelings reflected through dance. And that was
Wow.
just so special.
Where are you from?
I'm from Toronto,
Oh, cool.
so I'm out in Canada.
Nice. We visit there, right? We're there
Yep.
for
Yeah,
quite a bit. Yeah.
you're here for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that'll be super fun. I'm super excited to see you on stage again.
Yeah, I would love, yes, I would love to meet you in person.
Oh,
That would be
that's
so
gonna
great.
be the best.
Yeah.
So I want to dive more into your special journey with Hamilton because you got to be part of the national tour company and then you went on to make your Broadway debut with the show. So can you kind of walk us through your process with Hamilton from your audition process to your
Yeah,
involvement with the show?
totally. So, yeah, audition process, like I said, was around December 2015. And they taught me My Shot and Room Where It Happens. And like I said, I remember like those combos were so fire. I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. Like, I don't know. I had such a limited and probably ignorant lens of what Broadway was. Like when I thought of Broadway, I just saw like this. And
Yeah.
that wasn't my taste. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to do commercial work. I wanted to do hip hop work. I wanted to do everything, besides just that. And so when I walked into that room and learned that material, I was like, oh, like I'm dumb. Like I have been missing out. I've completely judged this industry without fully experiencing it, right? And so yeah, the next two auditions just got to dive deeper. I think we learned Yorktown as well. Um, sang and yeah, they gave me the offer, and so that was the Chicago company. So that was the second company of Hamilton. Um, and yeah, it was just like such a I don't want to say baby, but such a baby, such a new bird. Just absorbing everything that she could and experiencing opening nights, and there was just so much attention too, experiencing all of that for the first time. Like they're such super fans and they were so kind, experiencing fan mail, people drawing me, people like sending gifts to the stage door. Like what a trip, you know? And then from there went on tour with like definitely more confidence. I think I was the only one from the touring company that had done the show before. I might be wrong, but I think, yeah. So I definitely, had some experience under my belt going in. I still was one of the youngest cast members, so didn't want to act all macho or anything. But yeah, like I felt like, okay, I know my track. Um, and yeah, I'm just excited to do it with a new group of people. And I never toured before. So getting to travel at, what was I, 20, was a dream. And I met some of my best friends, like to this day. I have a group of guys, we call ourselves Buckets. And we still chat. We still are the homies. We're still in the group chat every day. My best friend, Tycho. There's just like so many people that I met on that tour that became like lifelong friends, lifelong family, like to this day, which I think is so, so special. Um, so yeah, like just got to tour the country doing the best show in the world at 20 into 21. Like how crazy. Like I'm like literally thinking about it now. It's just like wow. And then from there went to Broadway as the Bullet. And um yeah, such a shift. Like everybody had been doing it for years and years. And again, I was like the new girl, but this time in like such a different environment, right? Because we're in New York City, like these are people's homes. People, do their jobs and then go home to their families or do their, side gigs or acting gigs. Like people had such different lives outside of the show versus our lives only being in the show. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just like got to experience New York and it was hard. Like living in New York City for the first time, like you don't think about all the other obstacles that happen in the day before you get into the building, like train delays and like there's so many stairs on the subway and people are yelling in the coffee shop that you want to go to and like so many things that sort of take energy out of you before you even walk into the building. So there, I had to learn how to protect my peace and protect my energy within that city. And while also trying to be so open-hearted because there was so much that was happening. Like that's, Steps on Broadway is there, Broadway Dance Center is there. There's auditions happening at New 42 and Pearl Studios and Ripley. Like there's so many things. You're running into people on the street. So like, it was just like a rush of so much energy. Um, but again, doing that uh, with the show that I loved, with the show that took such good care of me, um, I was just in a really, really fortunate position. And then, pandemic hit, we were all off, but then we came back. I came back for another year, um, and yeah, just finished out that year. And I knew like it was time to go. I knew, I had sort of taken everything and learned everything that I think I could within that company and within that show. And God, I was 23, 24, and I was like, there's still so much to do, so much to explore. And the thing about Hamilton, the beautiful thing about Hamilton is it's gonna last for a very, very long time. It's a magnificent piece of work that yeah, it's just gonna be there forever. So, there's the option to sort of have that safety, for as long as I could. Um, if I wanted to, just to stay in that show and to ride that tail. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think for me, I just knew my artistic soul was yearning for more and yearning for more opportunity, um, more exploration, just more freedom. So it was so hard. It was so hard to say goodbye to that show. I was crying like crazy. It saw me from what, 19 to 23, 24. So just like a huge part of my like young adulthood. And every cast member, every company was a part of that, was a part of my growth, was a part of my learning experience when it came to the industry. And I was just so, so taken care of through those years. And not everyone can say that, but that company and that show, I have such a love for it, and yeah, I just can't believe I got to experience that when I did. The timing of it all too. Like that's when it was first out, and thank God I was, the right age, you know what I mean, to be able to work. Um, so yeah, it was such a huge monumental part of my life and still is. Like that's the other thing. Like we have Ham Fam. The 10-year anniversary, we were all on stage together singing and we just like all know each other because we've all done this thing and it just keeps growing and growing and yeah, special part of my life.
So you recently completed your run in Sunset Boulevard on Broadway, portraying the role of Jean in the ensemble, as well as understudying the role of young Norma Desmond. So what
Hmm.
were some of the greatest lessons you learned from your time on Sunset Boulevard, and what did you enjoy most about your time on the Boulevard?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that show was like I almost call it sometimes like a side quest because it was so short, but so monumental. Um, and I don't think I've ever, I mean, maybe besides Hamilton, like that show had so many eyes on it. And Nicole was like a dream and an inspiration to be, on stage with her. And even, outside of the theater, we got to dance with her at Broadway Bears. Um, and she has such a work ethic that I really admire, like really admire. She has a head on her shoulders and a huge heart that just like it's all aligned. And I feel like that was one of the first times I saw an actress and a performer like I don't know. It just felt otherworldly. It felt like she's a goddess. Like the energy that she has surging through her body is like very insane. And for her to be able to tap into that every night, what she did every night was so crazy. And she is so deserving of everything. So yeah, that show was monumental in such a small, pocket of time. And what's also interesting, on the flip side is like the ensemble, this was like maybe the least that I had ever been on stage in a show. So I also had a lot of freedom to like explore different things. And because the show was so heavily involved with camera work, that's when I got into camera work as well. Like I bought a camera, I bought a gimbal. One of my friends, Pierre, on the show, he's a director genius. And so he was teaching me a lot about the camera. And then the camera guys on the show, uh, they were teaching me things about how they do the camera work within, the show on that big LED screen. And so, yeah, I just developed this passion for camera work. And I had always had a passion for movies. But I think being in that show just really enhanced that love and made me want to study it even more. So I really owe that show a lot, in terms of waking up a new inspiration within me. And now I'm starting to, put out more work that involves my camera and, switching to behind the lens and being able to practice that muscle is really, really fun. Um, but yeah, did that. I played a lot of video games. Me and my friend Jimin would play Marvel Rivals during the breaks in that
Yeah.
show. And, we excelled very, very well because there was so much time, so much time.
Brandon said the same thing.
Yeah, like they were playing Smash Bros.
Oh,
uh upstairs. So yeah, I think like it became a lesson of like, okay, you're within one of the biggest shows ever, and yet there's still time to learn more. Like what else can you do with your time? I read a lot of books, um, watched a lot of movies. You know what I mean? It was such a interesting time. But again, met some of my best friends. Like me and Jimin went to Valencia together. Brandon is in the show now. I met my boyfriend, Sebastian. Abby is in Outsiders now. So it's brought together a group of people that are really, really special to me.
we got to
Yeah.
talk about the Sunset Boulevard to the Outsiders tour pipeline because I am
Oh
living
yeah.
for it. I love it so much.
Oh yeah.
And like, I think Sunset Boulevard and The Outsiders are tied for two of the craziest, most best things I've ever seen on a stage. So seeing people go
Oh
from both the shows is just the coolest thing.
yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
So you are currently portraying the role of Ace in the
Mhm.
Outsiders musical national tour. So could you share a little bit about your journey with the Outsiders from your audition process to where you are now?
Yeah, yeah. So my audition was pretty late in the game. I think I was one of the last ones to be hired. Um, it was, I think rehearsal started July 30th, and my first audition was June 4th. Um, so yeah, again, I had not seen the show. I didn't know much about the show. Sebastian, my boyfriend, loved the show. And so through him, I was getting like glimpses of the music and videos. He had already booked the show at that point. Oh, wait, this is a whole other story. I didn't tell him I was
I,
auditioning.
I need to know this story, please.
Yeah, I didn't tell him I was auditioning because I was nervous because like I don't know, I was like if I don't book it, that's gonna be so sad. Like I don't want him to get his hopes up. So I didn't tell him. I go into the audition and fall in love with the choreo. I was like, "Oh, this
Of
is this
course,
is
yeah,
swaggy. This is nice. This is
of
like up
course.
my alley." And then on top of that, there's flight choreo, which I like
Yeah.
love, always wanted to do it. So it's like I want to be in this. I want to be in this bad. So I think I had maybe there was like more auditions over the next 3 weeks. Um, yeah, and then finally, the casting director told Sebastian before he told me, assuming that we that I told him that I was auditioning. So the casting director told Sebastian. Sebastian's like, "What?" And the casting director's just like, "Oh." And so yeah, it's all tea. And then Sebastian's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey." Everything was worked out fine, but like, yeah, I was like, "No, why did that happen?"
So did you find
Um,
out you booked because like Sebastian told you?
no, the casting director told me after.
Oh, okay. I was
Yes,
like,
yes.
whoa.
No, no, no. But yeah, crazy, crazy.
Oh,
But we found out we were going on tour together. And yeah, that was amazing because like no one wants to do long distance if they don't have to. You know what I mean?
preach. Oh,
Yeah. So I think I saw the show during rehearsal process. I think I read the book during the rehearsal process. I think I watched the movie during the rehearsal process. So my Outsiders experience was like all compact into that rehearsal time. And wow, like first of all, it's timeless, it's generational. Like my mom grew up watching that. And I don't know why I'd never read the book, but it's still being taught in schools today. And the show is visually and choreographically and physically and emotionally just like so beautiful and heavy and fun and exciting and violent. Like it's so many emotions that you feel while watching and while being in the show. um and the process of like getting my teeth into this material has been very, very hard, I will say. Like this is physically, I think, the most difficult thing I've ever done. um I don't consider myself a trickster. I don't consider myself, being able to like do a back tuck or anything like that. But there are, a lot of tricks within this track that Tilly created, and that's I love her, one of my very, very, very good friends. But she's a jumping monkey bean, you know what I mean? Like crazy. And so I remember having a lot of doubts, A, within the audition room, and then B, within the rehearsal room. Um, and so it just became a battle of like how I'm speaking to myself. And, if I tell myself that I can't do something, then my body is going to be like, bet, then we can't do it. You know what I mean? So I just had to speak more kindly to myself, and I had to be really patient with myself because I'm like a perfectionist and I'm still at the core very competitive, but now my biggest competition is with myself. So I'm like competing with, yesterday's version of myself. And so I'm like, why can't I get, this front walkover? Why can't I get this 540? And it just took so long for me to finally be able to feel like I, had a quote unquote perfect show. And even then it's not perfect, but it was very rare that I felt like I nailed everything. And now I feel like I'm much more consistent in, nailing those big wow moments. But it took so much time. It took so much strength. Like I was going to the gym quite a bit because I wanted to be stronger than the show. I didn't want the show to sort of swallow me up in its difficulty. So I had to try and make sure that my workouts were harder than the show, which is crazy. But
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point now where, I'm lifting crazy and I'm working out really, really hard so that I can go to the show and be like, piece of cake, even though it's never really like that. But I don't feel like I'm getting swallowed by the moves. And um, yeah, it's sort of like when you're wearing an outfit that's like far too big for you. And now I feel like I'm snug, like it fits.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
love
but the show is incredible. Being on tour is different this time. I'm a bit older. I'm 28 now, and uh, this is my first 1 week tour. So we basically change cities every week.
it.
That is a struggle. That is definitely a struggle. It's hard on your nervous system, because when you're in a new space, subconsciously you're sort of like clocking everything and trying to make sure that you're safe and that you're memorizing the map of everything, and so your body never really gets to rest. um, so that's been a difficult journey that we've all been facing, and we've all sort of, been able to talk about openly with each other. But, I've sort of found my remedies to try and calm that part of myself by like looking at the space, taking a deep breath, being like, you're safe here, even though this is a new space, you're safe. Like you literally have to tell your body those things, so that it, adjusts quicker because all of that little stuff like takes energy and takes yeah, it just takes things out of you, and you want to use that for the show. You want to be able to have enough energy and mental space to do your job and do what you love. So this tour has been challenging in that way, but we're going to some really, really cool cities. We're meeting a lot of cool people. We got to go to Disney for Christmas. Um, so yeah, I'm having a blast.
And you got to open in Tulsa and see all those cool places in
Yeah,
Tulsa. Like, wow.
I know, so special. They felt honored, and we felt honored that we got to do that there.
So, what has your experience been like portraying the role of Ace? Because Ace wasn't originally part of the book or movie, but has such an
Mhm.
important part in the musical. So, how did Ace kind of come to life for you? And can you share a little bit about how you developed and originated your own version of this incredible character?
Totally. Yeah, so I had a sit down with the director, Danya Taymor, and I kind of was just like, so why am I here? Like Ace isn't in the book, Ace isn't in the movie. Like why did you decide that she needed to be here? And Donnie was talking of course, so highly about Tilly and how, you know, Ace was originally like, I think not in Grease Got a Hold, which is crazy, and not in some of the other bigger numbers. And it felt like Danya said it felt like there needed to be this feminine energy. And back then there would be a female greaser, you know? And Danya shared that, you know, when her brother's friends would come over to the house and she always felt like little sis and but she felt like a part of the group and sort of that tomboy aspect. And I resonate that with I resonate with that a lot. Because I consider myself, you know, on the tomboy side and connected a lot with my brothers and things like that. So yeah, I think she's necessary. I think she um has such a little sis aspect, yes. But I know for me, my ace, like I can get very maternal sometimes. I can get very nurturing, especially like, you know, during little brother. And you know, when Johnny's passing and they're trying to comfort Dally, but Dally's sort of like shoving them off of him. And, you know, I sort of step in as that comfort and a place to be held. And so she's sort of verse in that way where, yeah, they tease her and you know, play around with her like this, but she also holds her own. She's fearless. Um, and she takes care of them as much as they do her. And I think, especially after Sunset, because that was such a heavy, you know, high drama show. To come to this right after that was and is such a release and such an expression of like this inner animal, this inner child. Like I can scream at the top of my lungs every night, and I do because I can. Because I don't know, maybe there's things from the night before, the day that were frustrating, and I just want to go during Grease, and I can talk to my music director. I can. And so
Yes, as you
yeah, I just
should.
like there's such a freedom every night to be able to do something different. And I think this is the first show that I can walk into. Um, and truly like improv on stage. I mean, sure, there were pockets of that, you know, within the other shows that I've done, but like even as an actor um and everyone around me is doing it too. And so I'm having fun, regardless if I'm tired that day or say like, oh, I wanted to call out that day, but no, let me not, let me go in. I always come into work, do the work, and I leave being like, oh, I'm glad I came to work today because that was really fun. Because Brandon did that, you know, stupid thing over here. Jaden
Of course
like
you did.
did something crazy over there. You know what I
Of
mean?
course you did.
It's like a party up there, and we're allowed to do that. We've been given the freedom, and you know, Danya has been pulling that out of us so much, and so I've taken that and run with it. And I think the beautiful thing about Ace is, like I said, her fearlessness. Like she has no hesitation, and I think that's sort of where um you know, I've been trying to pull from her because I consider myself, yes, to be pretty spontaneous, but I can think with my analytical brain a lot and sort of like map out things and be the perfectionist. Ace is like she doesn't think about those things and probably, you know, sometimes not um always in her best interest, but like she just goes like balls first and and then she'll figure it out later. But I think it's the ability to just go
Yeah.
and to try and to fly and to just see what happens and to be protective. She's protective too. Um, and crazy. And yeah, there's just such an inner joy that she has um that like she doesn't care if you don't like it or not. She's gonna express it. So I've found so much comfort and healing within her. And I'm so grateful to Tilly for, creating that blueprint because of course I'm pulling things from Tilly. Of course I'm watching her and seeing what resonates and seeing, what I like and if things don't resonate with me, I choose something different. So she has set all of us up, me and other future aces to be able to bring um all of you to Ace and it's so special. Like this is definitely a once in a lifetime role. I know it is because like there's no way that there will be another role like this where I can scream and cry. Oh my goodness. Like the other day during Little Brother, I was like genuinely crying on stage and like that's what it is, you know what I mean? And also, the scene before that can be laughing and yeah, it's just the rainbow of emotions that I'm able to feel on this stage and through Ace is a gift. Like it's an artist's dream come true, truly. So yeah, it's an honor to play her every night.
This character is such a gift to this story. I truly
Yeah.
don't remember what The Outsiders was like without Ace.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
think they need to reboot it and then put her in it.
yes, yeah,
Yep. They
petition.
did
We're
like a new
starting a
one.
petition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So before we wrap up, we are going to rapid fire our last three questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Favorite scene, song, and moment in the show that you look forward to performing each night?
Grease got a hold on you. Next.
Yes. What has been your highlight moment in The Outsiders so far?
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I know this is a hard one. I'm sorry.
My highlight moment in The Outsiders was performing in Dallas for my family. I'd
Yes,
never performed in
hometown.
Dallas before. Yeah, that was super special. And my dance teacher came and saw, like, she's the one who started it all, my mom and
Oh,
dad. Like, yes. Sorry, that
oh,
wasn't
this is
fast. I'm
so
locked
full
in. I'm locked
circle.
in.
Looking back on everything you have achieved in this industry, what advice would you give your younger self entering the industry?
Ooh, learn how to rest. Learn how
Yes.
to rest. There's so much time. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon. You're in this for the long run. So, because you started so young, you are more susceptible to burnout. So, you need to make sure to take your breaks when you need them because you're going to have a very long, long, long career. And you don't have to say yes to everything just because it's there. You're in a very fortunate position to be able to know when it's time to rest and when it's time to work. So just focus on making sure that that mind, body, spirit connection is aligned and healthy. And yeah, take your
Oh my
breaths when you need them.
I love that so, so much. Justice, thank you so much for joining me on the Inspiration Show. I mean, words truly cannot describe how much this means to me and how deeply you've impacted my life. You are such a personal hero of mine, and I'm just so endlessly inspired by your artistry, your kindness, and your brilliance. And I'm just so in awe of your talent and so grateful to get to look up to you and watch you shine. It's been such an honor to have you here. Thank you for inspiring
Thank
me.
you, Allison. Thank you so much. You're the sweetest. I'm so grateful to be able to talk to you today.
You're the greatest.